Hey guys, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday. And today we are here with the illustrious Jennifer King as we continue Quit Week. And guys, don't forget this morning at 9:30 Central Standard Time. If you haven't already registered, we're going to be having a social media masterclass on how you can leverage social media to build your business. And I think, guys, now more than ever, we got instantly ushered into a technology and social media age. And so around March 1st, we were in a world where social media was optional, Zoom was optional, virtual was optional, and people still felt some kind of way about building an online presence. And then, literally overnight, we shifted and took a quantum leap into everybody connecting virtually. Hashtag stay home, hashtag home together, hashtag social distancing. And so now, even down to Easter Sunday service is going to be virtual. I know the TV here in Houston donated time to different churches, and everything is going online. And so, in line with that, guys, make sure that you're thinking about how to shift your industry and how to stay vigilant on your quit program as you're moving into this new era. So if you haven't already scheduled your call to talk about quitting, go to bit.ly. Girl, that was your friend over here making all that noise. She'll say, "Who was that?" She finna mute somebody in the broadcast. You'd have to mute me because that's Mr. Troy. But go to bit.ly/BYOB show 20 and schedule your call with us. We're going to open our calendar next week. If you want a strategy to quit your job, it's not just going to come to you through osmosis. And even if you're in a business already and you need to know how to shift out of that business, that is still considered quitting. So make sure you go to bit.ly/BYOB show 20 and get the strategy you need to create an exit plan. And I know last night Jennifer talked about the cost of quitting your job. You know, the funny thing is, most people don't even make enough for it to be a real issue to quit your job. You're mentally, you're so addicted to. I remember I met a woman that made $25,000 a year. And when I asked her, like everybody was like, hmm. And I said, well, why are you still there? 40 hours a week. Why are you still there? Because I promise you, you can almost do anything and make up that $25,000 a year. But we're so conditioned to work a job. We're so conditioned to work a job. Let me see. And unfortunately, it's that conditioning um, that keeps us from moving to the next level.
You are so right, coach. You are so right. And that was me. That was me. For those of you guys that don't know me, and thank you, Weekend Crew, for letting me come in and chat this morning. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff, but you were talking about different hashtags. This morning, we're going to be talking about hashtag stimulus check. We're going to talk about what, we got a lot of people working jobs or maybe out of jobs that are waiting on that stimulus check. And they're just holding by the seat of their pants by one thread, waiting on that. And that shouldn't be the case. That shouldn't be the case. We should always be prepared for an emergency. And we don't, and for this, or this is actually a crisis, we don't even know how long it's going to last, right? But I'm just so grateful that someone shared the broadcast with me a year and a half ago. So, guys, if you haven't shared the broadcast, please share the broadcast, because it was one share of the broadcast that completely changed my life. And I came across Coach Danielle Winningham, and then from there, it's literally history. It's literally history, because I was on a job for 33 years. I still would have been there, and I would have been in my 35th year had I not gotten the strategy I needed. So I want my stimulus check, but just whenever it comes, it'll be fine.
And girl, there's a mindset shift that comes I remember working at my job, and I remember I used to work an excessive amount of overtime to pay for my kids going to private school. And one lady, I asked her, I said, why don't you work overtime? She said, well, if I work overtime, they're going to cut my daycare benefits.
Wow.
I said, let me get a pen and paper. Let me show you something. There's a point where you make so much that you don't care about the daycare benefits. So you're trying to limit how much you make to keep daycare benefits, but what you're limiting is you're limiting your quality of life. What you're limiting is you're limiting your earning potential. What you're limiting, so you're really giving them control over your earnings because you don't want to lose your daycare. And let's just be honest about how much that is. And so once I showed her on paper how much money she was leaving on the table because she didn't want to, quote unquote, lose her benefits, and how she could still afford for daycare and still afford a bigger house and afford to go get a better car and afford some other stuff, she was like, wow. But if you never do the math, on what it is that, why am I truly doing what I do every day? There's a lot of business owners, guys, that are working in reverse. They got shops, they got stores, they got this, they got that, but they're not really earning any revenue. And so sometimes they got to look at themselves and say, is what I'm doing proactive? Is what I'm doing really earning me enough? And if it's not, be willing to take that, get that strategy and do something different. And let me tell you something, guys. Lack of strategy, lack of knowledge, lack of wisdom, that's what holds people up. And I'm going to let one of the panelists talk about, if you don't have the strategy now, you're not just going to automatically get the strategy until you invest in that next level knowledge. And I don't know why it's so hard for people, Rose. If you paid to go to college, why wouldn't you expect to pay to learn how to build a business? And until you do, there's a certain level that you're not going to get to.
I think it's because, and you make a really good point. You pay for everything else in life, not just to go to college. You pay for somewhere to live. You pay to buy your groceries. You pay for your clothes. You pay for your gas. Why do you think that building a business is free? Now, I know that we see a lot of free resources, but those are just resources. It's not enough for you to build a business. It's enough for you to go wrong with. It's just enough for you to be dangerous. So I don't understand why people think that it's free. It's just enough to blow yourself up.
No.
You know how in the cartoons, old Bugs Bunny be running and carrying on, and then all of a sudden they dropped it. No, that's the other one.
Wile E. Coyote.
Wile E. Coyote, and they dropped the thing just enough to get you messed up.
And that's what people don't understand. And that you over here buying a cracker from over here and a piece of gum from over here and a shoestring from over here.
Yep.
But we not MacGyver. That shit don't match. So at the end of the day, you got a paper clip, some chewing gum, and a cracker. That's not going to build your business.
It's not.
Until you actually invest in real tools, right?
Real tools.
Real knowledge. And I'm going to go as far as say real community.
Absolutely.
Because that's another thing people don't realize is that when you hire the right coach, you don't just get a coach, you get a cheerleading squad and you get people to encourage you and people to motivate you, people to say, girl, I've been there before. And, and people that won't let you give up, not even on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not
and you also get resources, because what you may not know, someone in your community may know. So by utilizing the camaraderie, the skills of the community, you thereby create your own economy. And what I mean by that is you create your own economy because we are all accessing and buying from each other. just like they do out here in the world. You go to this store, that store, your friend's store, whatever, you're creating the economy. So you create your economy right there in your community. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. But
And
that's
then
why we're here.
And then the knowledge and the resource sharing. I can honestly tell you, this whole COVID thing has really made us closer. We really realize, man, together we see everything. Oh, here's a grant opportunity over here. Have you filled out your, I'm calling people like, girl, you did your paperwork yet? I don't want anybody connected with me to miss a thing. If your income was impacted,
Absolutely.
you need to be filing unemployment. If your income was impacted, people like, oh, I still work. This ain't the old unemployment.
That's right.
This is emergency. It's called pandemic unemployment insurance. And it has nothing to do with what you have, or if you're still working, or if your business is still open. They say, have you had a reduction in revenue? Has your revenue been impacted? And if so, good morning, Berlin, in most of the states, you can apply for some level of unemployment. And to be so proud as to not to, and this is what I tell people, if you don't know, stick your hand out, ask. Be honest on your paperwork and let them people tell you yes or no.
Because that's the only two things they can say. They can either say yes or they can say no. They say no, then you move on to the next thing. But you've asked, and you only get what you asked for.
And on the unemployment, being in a community around people that know about resources, I never even would have thought that I could file for unemployment. But then when I was answering the survey, they asked if I had a reduction in revenue. I did. I wasn't able to go to Atlanta. We were supposed to be in Atlanta. I wasn't able to go to Arkansas. I was supposed to speak in Arkansas. So we can't get out to do what we needed to do. So I got my paperwork in, Coach.
And then another thing people have to realize too, go ahead, Bertha.
And there are so many resources out there. Don't stop at one. If one turns you down, you need to go to the next one. That doesn't mean that you're gonna get that one, but you move on to the next one. And so just don't stop at one. And so that's my point, is a lot of people stop at one, but if you stop at that one, you need to go on to the next one. If they say no, go on to the next one. So
and another thing, Bertha, too, is realizing that we got to stop letting this paperwork catch us up.
Yes.
And they make their paperwork hard for a reason. They don't want you. I applied for a grant yesterday, and I gave y'all a link to apply for it too. It's a Hello Alice grant. And they asked me questions that didn't have nothing to do with the grant money. What would you tell the president that he need to do better? What would you tell the mayor that he need to do better?
I'd be still right.
What would you tell the girl? I just answered it and kept going.
Right.
Somebody else would have got frustrated and said, see, what we got to realize too, there's a book by Randy Pausch called The Last Lecture. And in that book, he said, obstacles are not created to keep you out. Obstacles are created to qualify you. Everything is hard for everybody at some point.
Right.
People say, well, Coach, it don't look hard for you. 9 years ago when I started doing this, nobody was doing this. Nobody was really building their business online. You had a couple authors here and there, they would sell a few books online. But in terms of really just building a business online, so I didn't even have any resources. So it was hard. And I would sit up on it day in and day out and just say to myself, I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna give up. I learned how to work them people jobs, even when it's hard and they over there treating you like a Hebrew and they don't even give you bricks no more. Y'all understand the connotation, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
In the Bible, when they was building, You know, the Pharaoh used to give him bricks and he got mad at him when Moses kept coming fooling when he said, I'm gonna make it hard for your people. I'm gonna take their bricks away.
Mhm.
I'm gonna just give them clay and mud. And then they gotta build the bricks and then Moses kept coming. So I said, I'm gonna make it even harder for them. I'm not even gonna give them the clay and the mud no more. Now they gotta go find the clay and then they gotta go find the straw and still make their own bricks. I've had jobs like that.
Wow.
Mhm.
So ladies, let's have a little conversation about quitting your job.
Oh,
So
hold on one second, Nunu. And
okay,
guys, if you're ready to get you an exit plan to quit your job, go to bit.ly/BYOB show. Schedule a call. Stop dragging your feet. Stop procrastinating. You don't know what it's going to take. You don't know what you don't know. So a lot of times we'll talk ourselves out of things saying, oh, I can't afford. We have affordable payment plans available. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to make it happen. If you're serious about quitting your job, you're going to be serious about finding a way to make it happen. So go to bit.ly/BYOB show 20 and schedule your call for next week. Go ahead, Nunu.
thank you, Coach. Thank you. And I am so grateful that somebody shared the broadcast with me about a year and a half ago. So y'all share out the broadcast because you may not think this is for you. You may not be ready, but somebody else may be. And I know I was ready. So we have an amazing panel. Again, ladies, thank you for allowing me to come in. I'm usually a co-host on the After Dark show. Super excited to be here with you guys. Y'all are amazing. Let's talk a little bit about quitting your job. I'm trying to scan the panel right now. I see one person on here who's quit and everybody else that's in the process of quitting their job. Super excited. So why don't you guys, we kind of do a round robin and kind of talk about a couple of things. Let's start with Rose, who's quit her job, and then move around and hear from the rest of the panel.
Okay, good morning, everybody. So glad to see you all. Good morning to everybody out in the audience. Yes, I did quit my job, but I quit through a little different means. I retired, but I retired after working a totality of 40 years. Okay. I'd been working since I was 15 years old. Put it this way, I've been paying into the system since I was 15 years old. So I worked a total of 40 years. People ask me all the time, how can you retire, so young? Yeah, I worked at one place for 21 years, but altogether I worked for 40 years. That's a long time. That's a long time. But after I retired, that doesn't mean that I'm just going to put my feet up, travel the world, and, not do anything. Yeah, I'm going to do those things, but I'm going to have my laptop in my hand so that I can still continue to make money because I don't want to sit back and just spend all my retirement, and then I'll be looking at going back to work. Not going to happen. So the things that I had to do in order to transition over, I like to call it pivoting. And everybody hears that word these days. All of a sudden, my word has become famous. I call it pivoting. But what I had to do, I didn't assume anything. One thing, I didn't assume anything. Secondly, I had to assess. I had to assess my skills and abilities and everything to see what I had in my hands that I could transform over to what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to have an online business. I've had several businesses while I was still working. So see, it's not just that you just say, oh, I quit or, oh, I'm going to retire. No, you have to prepare for those things. You could do anything you want to do as long as you take the time to prepare. Took me 40 years to prepare. Now, I didn't intend on it taking me 40 years to prepare, but you get sidetracked and all that kind of stuff. But eventually, you ask God for something. You ask him to bless your plan. That's the first step. You ask him to bless the plan that you want. He's going to twist it and turn it and stuff like that. But eventually he's going to, when you're ready, he'll give it to you. So like I said,
That's good, Rosa. You talked about it took you 40 years. It took me a number of years, but you got to have a plan. So guys, if you're ready to get your exit plan, we want you to go to bit.ly/BYOB show 20 and schedule a call to talk with one of us about how we can help you with that. Because guess what? If you don't have a plan, you're going to be at your job longer than 40 years because you're not going to be able to retire. And one of the things about retirement, I hope people understand, is you're making a different amount of money than you did when
Yeah.
you were working. And so if you were struggling when you were working, you're going to struggle even more in retirement unless you have a plan. So guys, be sure you go to bit.ly/BYOB show 20 and schedule a call to chat with one of us about how you can get your exit plan. It's never too early to start because it's going to take some time. It's going to take some work. It is not going to happen overnight. This is not a magic bullet. Not at all.
It
Not
sure
at
isn't.
all.
It
Not
sure
at all.
isn't.
And you glad you're gone, aren't you, Rose?
What?
Oh,
I used to be the one to brag. Oh, and I did. I had a good job. I had a gravy job. I still got to do what I wanted to do. But I'm going to tell you something. On the other side of that is freedom. And there is nothing sweeter than freedom. If sleeping is your thing, you can sleep until you get tired of sleeping.
that's right. And the grass is truly greener on the other side.
It really is. And you have to realize when you're not working, there are certain expenses that you don't have anymore.
Mhm.
You know, think about that.
True
You know,
story.
you don't have to buy clothes anymore. You got plenty of clothes.
That's
You don't
right.
have to buy lunch every day because you're at home and fix your own lunch. Or you can go out and lunch and wine, you know, with your friend, well, with some of your friends, because a lot of them still working.
Still working, yeah.
Yeah, but you can start you a circle of entrepreneurs and lunch if that's your thing.
Right.
You know, and you will also find that when you are retired or quit your job, you're not just sitting at home twiddling your thumbs. You become busier now. I'm busier now than when I was working because you now have the time that you transition from a job to put into you. And
That's
what
good.
greater investment is there than you?
That's good. That's good. Heather, I'm gonna ask you to go next because you may end up, if you're okay with that, because you may end up getting where you need to be and then may not have an opportunity to go.
Yes. Okay. Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And she just froze up. She just froze up, probably because she's moving.
Brow bar. And I actually quit my job. I worked for corporate America in the industry. Went and opened.
Heather, you're breaking up on our end. We may have to wait till you get where you're going. If you're able to, we'll circle back around to you if that's okay, because you sound like a robot. All right, thanks. All right, who wants to go next? All right, Miss Dr. Armstead.
Good morning, everyone. I'm enjoying this conversation this morning. You know, I would say right out the gate, it starts with the mindset. You got to make a decision. You really have to make a decision. So, like Rose, I've been working quite a few years. I'm just shy of 40 years now myself, just shy of that. But it starts with a decision because you have to look at if what you've been doing over and over and over again, you know, and sometimes people will think when you're young, okay, that job was not so great. Let me leave that job and go to another one. Then you get to the next job and you're like, ooh, this isn't so great. Let me try a third one and then a fourth one, you know, and then some people will get to what they call the good job and say, okay, this has been better than the last two or three. Maybe I'll just bide my time right here. And you will be there for 10, 20, 33 years at one place. But it really starts with the mindset because even, and I'm sure, Jennifer, you will attest to this, in those years, in your 33 years there, you knew at some point along the way, this really is not working, not for me and not in the way that I want it to work. And so I have to do something different. So it starts with the mindset that you have to assess where you are in that situation and how you're going to move forward. And Rose touched on once you, like, well, for her, she's retired and she's moved to a different side of things, that she doesn't need the clothes and she doesn't have to worry about the lunch and everything. And I say, and we hear this out there all the time, the fake it till you make it sort of analogy, but If you know that you are destined for more than what you're doing on that job, then you need to get yourself into that mindset of, I'm already going to be out of here. So guess what? Even while you're still on the job, how many clothes do you really need? I mean, as long as you have a plethora, you probably, like most of us, you have a plethora of things already in your closet. So as long as you show up while you're still there and you are fresh and you are clean, who cares if you wore that last Tuesday and yeah, now it's Thursday and you're repeating, the same top or whatever. Who cares about that? Stop buying the lunches out in the street. Make your lunch at home and take your lunch to that job with you, because you're going to need those resources that you're spending on the clothing and on the lunches. And stop going to the nail salon. There are other options than going and paying all of your money to sit in there and get those nails done. They trust and believe.
And you can't even get to the nail salon now. So what do you want to do? And you said something, Cynthia, that really stuck with me. I didn't realize you've been working for 40 years. So just from the speakers that have spoken, guys, if you haven't shared out the broadcast, share out the broadcast. And if you want to schedule a call so you're not on your job for 30, 40 years, go to bit.ly/BYOB show 20. You talked about at some point realizing, I did realize that, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. But when I knew different, I did different. So you heard from me, you heard from Rose, you heard from Cynthia. That's 114 years of working. And we still have 3 more people. We still have 3 more people to hear from. You will be at that 30, 40, 50-year mark at a job, sharecropping for somebody else, unless you do something different. Go ahead, Dr. Armstead.
I would just say, scale back on the things that you're doing on that job, like we talked about. Save on the clothing, save on the money, do your own hair, do your own nails, save back those resources, because you're going to need that to invest into coaching and a community, because the mindset of others sometimes within the workplace, it's not where your mindset is. So get yourself into a community of people who think like you think, who have moved like you want to move, and who make decisions like you make, and utilize that additional money to pay into coaching and to the different things that you need to do within that community, which is going to help you to work on that exit strategy to build your way out. So even though you may still be on that job, there are ways of doing things to help you with the mindset, to help you to get out. I know for me, working, it's like, I can't wait to be finished with the workday, because now I get to really be, as a matter of fact, I join my community before I go to somebody's job. And then when I get a lunch break, I'm still trying to connect to my community. And then when it's quitting time, I'm like, let me hurry and get to my community, because the community gives me life. But that's the mindset. You have to have the right mindset. And sometimes you need that community to help you to stay in that proper mindset also, and to help build you up.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I can piggyback off of Dr. Cynthia, you just have to find your passion, find your passion, and from there, start creating and making your own revenue. If you don't know what to do, then maybe you can start there. Find that passion that even off your job. Maybe it's something that you're doing that you can do for your own self, and so that's one of the things that was just kind of not gnawing at me, for as your mindset, your passion, moving forward in this pandemic. This is the time to be doing it. While we have all this time, you can be sitting down creating your business, your own business, because it's time. It's time, and I think it's a great opportunity to be able to do that at this particular time, so you can sit down and think.
Now, Bertha, correct me. You have been, tell me, I know you've had your one business for over 30 years, and you're trying to fire yourself from your own job so that you can work in your passion. How long have you been there? Is it 30 or 31?
30.
And then prior to that, did you work prior to that?
I know I've always had my own business.
Okay, so I need to add to our numbers because I'm running some numbers over here. We are now up to 144 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
144 years, and we still have 2 speakers. I'm going to run the numbers all the way down. This will be you. We got Rose is in the lead with 41, and I wasn't trying to beat Rose. Normally, you know, you be real competitive. I'm not trying to compete. I'm just trying to beat
37,
Rose.
37,
How
37,
many?
37.
I put you down for 40, but you 37, that's fine. That's still a whole lot of years. We at 141 years.
And when you look at it like that, that's powerful.
That's powerful.
That's something.
It is.
So if you don't want to be in the 3 and 4 decade club, you need to go to bit.ly/BYOB show 20. Heather must be in that club too. I'm gonna let Heather go head on and speak, or let's go with Kayshawn, whichever one of you guys is ready to go. Let's hear from
I'm
you.
ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay.
All right, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Heather Weatherspoon. I am the owner and operator of Exquisite Links Beauty and Brow Bar in Louisville, Kentucky. And I actually quit my job. I worked for corporate America. I'm actually a certified pharmacy tech. And I left corporate America and I opened up my own day spa. I worked for corporate America altogether for about 7 years. And I got tired of it. I'd always had my business on the back end. And I kept thinking, you know, all these ideas that I'm giving to my boss to make their business better, I can take the same ideas and make my own business. So I walked away 7 years clean and started my own. But I had my plan and I had my strategy. I didn't just walk away and like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? I'm lost. No, I was never lost. I was never stuck. I literally put my 2 weeks notice in, left before my 2 weeks. And on Monday morning, my book was full of clients.
Wow. Wow, that is super amazing. Super amazing. You've had your own business and you're working now as part of the mentorship that we're all in to scale that business. And what the beauty of it, she has a spa and brow bar, you said?
Mm-hmm.
So what's great for Heather, because she invested in her and got in this community, while all those other spas and bars are closed, Heather is still making money because Heather invested in Heather and got the strategy to bring it all online. And that's what we do over here. So when all this whole pandemic went down, we were like, okay, cool. We work from home anyway. We know the strategy. We didn't fumble with Zoom. Everybody's fumbling the ball with Zoom because they don't know how to work it. And we're saying all this to say, guys, we were so prepared, and you still can get prepared because this is not going to be over for a while. So go to bit.ly/BYOB show 20 and schedule a call. Schedule a call. Did you say something?
What that says about everyone and all of what the experiences that we have shared, that says that we did what? We invested in ourselves by getting wise counsel.
Mm-hmm.
We got a business coach. We got Dr. Danielle to be able to show us how to walk around the landmines that she has stepped in, that other folks have stepped in, so that we won't have that curve. We won't blow ourselves up trying to piece together the shoestring, the chewing gum, and all the free stuff we see online. We invested in wise counsel so that when the pandemic went down, we were like, what pandemic? Oh, let me get some food and let me go on back to the computer.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay, Kayshawn, let's hear from you, lady.
All right, y'all. Hey, I'm Kayshawn Brooks. I'm the owner of Renew You Body Butters. And for me, I have been working for 27 years. So I might be the baby of the group. You know, I haven't made it into that 30 year, and that is my goal, not to make it into the 30-year mark. You know, that's what I've learned, you know, but that was a mindset that I had to change because I was always brought up and groomed to go to college, work a job, and retire. And then that's it. But then as I was doing that, I started seeing my self-worth. And that's what's going to help you make that transition to quit your job and work for yourself, is when you start realizing your self-worth. I worked on jobs for so many years where I'm a competitive person. And I know I'm a very good, exceptional employee, where supervisors would always come to me. Their ideas were my ideas. They always took the credit. If anything was falling apart, I was the fixer, the Olivia Pope, the one to go to. And my mindset was like, wait a minute, you know my talents, you see my gifts, you're utilizing me, but you're just using and abusing me. I felt, when Jennifer talks about sharecropping and years as a slave, I began to feel like that because I did everything you told me to do. I went to school, took the training certification, and I said, you know what? I'm about to flip the script on you guys, and I'm about to take everything that I've learned from you, and I'm gonna put that into myself. I'm gonna stop solving your solutions, saving you millions, making you millions. And I know God is gonna lead me somewhere to utilize this knowledge. And, with me, I'm a nurse. I've been in the medical field for 20 years and I didn't have the option to quit. I got hit by a drunk driver and then I got crushed by a gate at the prison that I was working at the time. So injuries forced me out of working. And then, but I looked at that tormenting time as a blessing because it forced me to focus on my business. And then even when I did find a part-time job to work at home, this pandemic ended my job. So I didn't even quit. And I was working at home and I still lost my hours, so I'm embracing it. I know I can get them back, but I have a personal goal that I feel like this is God taking the job away from me. And now those few hours a week I was working, I get to put that time back into my business and focus 100% on me. And hopefully, I won't have to go back and go through that again because I see my self-worth. I recognize my self-worth and I understand to get there, I'm going to have to be flexible. And sometimes I'm going to have to be uncomfortable. And when building a business, you're going to have to be flexible and uncomfortable to things you're not used to doing. Like yesterday, with my back hurting, I'm in my second year of treatment, but I was out yesterday doing DoorDash because I need this money to invest into my business so I won't have to go off back to work, and that's sacrificing. So that's my little piece to add in.
Oh, how many years do you have in the work world?
27.
Oh, wow.
I do not want to make it to 30.
That's 175 years of working between this panel. That is a lot of sharecropping years, as Jennifer would say.
Well,
Kayshawn,
can I add?
You sure can.
You said 100, how many years? 100 and what?
175.
And we're not billionaires together collectively. That speaks volumes. That's almost 200 years of working, and collectively we are not even a billionaire.
That's a great point. That is a great point. We're not billionaires nor millionaires collectively. And we've worked 175 years. I mean, just let that sit there and think. 175 years. None of us on here are going to live to be 175 years old. That's a lot of time. But you know what, though? That's a lot of experience. But that's a lot of time that we put into building someone else's dream.
Right.
Because just like now we're building ours, we stepped into someone else's dream to help them to further what they wanted to do. They were the entrepreneurs. A business starts with an idea. Mm-hmm. And they took that idea, grew that idea, say they needed good people, went out and found good people to further that idea, that dream, that business. And between this panel here, we put 175 years into someone else's idea. And Kayshawn, you made some really, really good points. Being flexible,
Yes.
Because when you have to pivot, when you have to change, it's all about being flexible, being uncomfortable. Everyone is uncomfortable right now because they are uncertain. They don't know what the next steps are going to be, what's going to happen. So you're already uncomfortable.
Right.
Why not go ahead and step out and build your dream while everyone's uncomfortable? So if you need company in your uncomfortableness, you
Mhm.
have plenty of company, because the whole world is uncomfortable right now. So
Right.
why not take this time in your uncomfortableness and build out your dream so that when all of this is over, you can have some comfort. And one of the main things you said was, it all takes sacrifice. There's nothing that you're going to do or get or be in this world. You have to sacrifice something. And we've sacrificed 175 years.
Yes.
Oh my God, y'all. Who else wants to talk about that? Who wants to chime in on this? I'm just, whoo, I'm blown away.
Heather, you're on mute.
That's a lot. That's a lot. It's a lot.
That's mind blowing.
It is. It is. It's too many years, and it should let us know that, we should be trying to get 175 years of entrepreneurship, between us, and our generations. That's something that we should be looking forward to, and something too that, goes back to being flexible and uncomfortable. You got to do whatever it's going to take to be successful in your business. You can't have a limited mindset, whereas in, I'm only going to do this. Because when you say you're only going to do this, you're limiting yourself. And I used to be like that. I thought, oh, I got my, I'm a nurse. I got my bachelor's degree in management. I'm a Lean Six Sigma green belt. I know I'm about to go out here and make it happen. But when I met my coach, she let me know, you don't know what you don't know. And I didn't know what I didn't know. And I'm happy that I've met her and that she's helped my business grow on levels that I didn't learn in college, that I didn't learn on the job. I learned in this community, and I thank her for that. But if I wasn't trying to be, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if I didn't embrace the uncomfortness and being flexible. We're in different, for us to come and do this show and come to talk to you, we're all over the country in different time zones. So, for me, I was watching someone and they were talking about the difference between the time zone for the East and the West. I'm in California on the West Coast, and the person mentioned how they had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast because it's 7 on the East Coast. They 3 hours behind. And when we're trying to build a business online, you're bi-coastal. And I have to conform to, as I networked in my networking branched out, and I'm dealing with people on the Central and the East Coast, I'm up now at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. The old me wouldn't have never done that. But this businesswoman of me that I have been groomed and trained to be, I'm up. It's a natural, it's a habit. I feel like I've missed out on so much when I wake up at 8 o'clock because I'm trying to catch up to everyone else. But I wasn't there a year ago. I grew into this.
Absolutely. And I'm sure it makes you excited to know that you have something else, you have this business. So when you roll over and say, Lord, I'm tired, you said, but you know what? Let me go and get up from here so that I can build this business. So on the back end, I can sleep as long as I want to sleep.
Yes.
Yeah. And you mentioned limits. And so I'm going to combine that with what I said earlier about mindset, because those 40 years, they come with a lot of limitations, and we've all heard that saying about you can work 40 years of your life for 40 hours a week, only to leave with 40% of your pay. Now, isn't that very limiting? It's a limit. You're
Ooh.
for the entire 40 years as it is that you've worked from place to place, or one job in particular, maybe for the majority of that time, but you do it 40 years of your life for 40 hours a week. And when you leave, they say, here's 40% of your pay. And as we know, the cost of living in the world continues to rise. So that 40% of your pay is based on a wage that's no longer comparable to the lifestyle that you must live, even if you live the most basic lifestyle, because it's not going to be enough for you to survive on. So they put you in a box. You're limited there. And they limit you all 40 years. And guess what? You get to leave where they limit you even once you're gone, because they put you in a system where you're going to only leave with 40% of your pay. And you're just not going to be able to comfortably make it on 40% of a wage that was a prior wage that doesn't even compare to what you need to live off of in the future years as things continue to evolve financially, and it takes more money to live off of. So you have to, mentor of mine, I think it might have been Coach, once said a few years ago, people always say, think outside the box, think outside the box. What box? There is no box. Who put a limit on your mind to say you're in the box? So you think that you got to think outside of the box, where honestly, there is no box.
And that's what a lot of people, a lot of folks, they get conditioned. Society conditions you, a job conditions you. So you only think that you can make certain moves, and then you can't make any other moves. But really, if you make a choice, you make a decision, you can make any moves you want.
Right.
It's up to you. You can make any moves you want. Any. If you want to go fly to the moon, they made that possible now.
Right.
So you can build a business. There is sacrifice. There are a lot of long hours, but think about it. You're doing that for your legacy, for your family's legacy. And if you can work hard building someone else's legacy, why wouldn't you take the chance on you? What do you all think? Take the chance on you. What do you have to lose? Because now you are stuck in that box with 40, 40, and 40. Okay, you work 40 years, you get 40%. Okay, so you already know what you're going to get. So what do you have to lose? If you build a business or make the attempt to build a business and you don't make it, what have you lost? You still got your little 40, 40, but just suppose, imagine for a second, just suppose all of the things that you really wanted to do with your life. Just suppose, get that in your mind's eye. Just suppose you build your business and it works. Just like you see these Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 100 companies. They didn't start out like that. A lot of them started at the kitchen table, dining room table, or the garage. Some of them started out the trunk of their car. But they had the tenacity, they had the strength, they made the sacrifices, and they made it work. Now, that's not saying that it took a straight line to get there, because as entrepreneurs, we know the line goes up and down and all around and all of those good things.
Yes.
But just suppose it did work. And I think that's what we need to get into our spirits. Just suppose to feel what that feels like, to know that you built this, you're leaving this for your family. You can now, I like to say, y'all, sleep is one of my favorite things. So you can sleep until you get tired of sleeping. Just suppose you try that out one day and you say, I might could make this work. So you come back the next day and the next day. And the next thing you know, you've built you a Fortune 100 or Fortune 500 company, because the rest of them started out as an idea, as somebody's dream. They hired someone else to take that dream further, because as Coach says, many hands make light work.
Right.
So invest in wise counsel. And y'all also know I like to say sharing is caring. So share out the broadcast. And don't be afraid to make the call and speak with someone about what your dream is and see what resources, what counsel you need to move that forward. You can do that at bit.ly/BYOB show 20 and get some wise counsel. It's not going to cost you anything. You're not going to lose anything, because if you haven't done anything, what are you losing? What are you losing? You can only gain. Even if you don't do anything, you can still only gain. What you all think?
I think that having your online business is the bomb, because you can take this online business anywhere,
Right.
anywhere in the world. I mean,
Take your laptop and move around.
exactly, exactly. You know, we've
And
been to Houston, and I mean, everybody was going online and doing their thing, you know, even while we were in our own conference and things, you know. So you can take this online business and go anywhere, and that's freedom to me. And that was the reason why I wanted to join the community, was the freedom. And it was one share of the broadcast that Jennifer King came across my feed, and she was talking about taking a nap. And I was like, I want to take a nap. And I was at work.
And speaking of taking a nap, Jennifer really got down with it, because Jennifer live streamed her nap. Jennifer said, y'all working folks, let me show you what it means to sleep until you get tired of sleeping.
Yes, and man, my crazy self, I'm sitting up there watching her sleep.
Watching hers. And people actually watched her, because you know why? They got it in their mind's eye that, wow, maybe if I did this, I could sleep too. And Bertha, you made a good point, because I think just about all of us here were in Houston together back in February, right before we all had to go into seclusion. We were all together shooting our Facebook ads, fellowshipping with each other, hanging out with Coach, learning, being coached. And it was not in a stringent environment. We all had our portable business devices, our laptops. We were all around the table. We were working on our prospective businesses. We were being coached. We were learning. And to me, that is absolute freedom, because you're working for you. You're creating your legacy for your family and for you. And you're moving around doing the things that you really like to do. And you still get to work if you want to.
Right.
What more is there?
And
I
based
take this laptop to the beach. Only thing I worry about is getting sand in it.
Okay.
said, based on what Kayshawn said earlier about the times that she has to get up, I know that it's the same thing with Jennifer. So by the time that Jennifer was on live taking that nap, what people have to realize is that by then Jennifer had been up since the crack of dawn, working on her business. So it really was her nap time, because she had already put in 4, 5, 6 hours of work in her business before it was time to take her nap. So the early bird gets the worm. You have to get up and do what you would not have done previously in order to be a business owner and to be a successful business owner. Because we're not saying this is easy.
Right.
It's work.
No, it's not.
Oh, right.
It's work, but the thing is having that freedom to be able to do it whenever you want to do it. And you know, you can get up in the morning, you can work late at night, you can work, you know, you just work however. But you're free, and you don't have nobody telling you you got to be here at 8 o'clock. You got to be here, you know, you take your lunch at 11.
Exactly. And when you're ready to take that nap, if you're working a job, okay, go ahead, sit at that desk and go to sleep and see what happens.
Right.
See what happens when you put your head down.
And Rose, I love it because I don't have nobody standing behind me, timing me on a phone call or timing me about typing. I don't have to worry about none of that.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
You know what else? You know what else is in your control? And Dr. Cynthia, you made me think of it, is your raises. You know, when you work on these jobs,
Yes.
have you noticed, you know, when you get a raise, you have to do more than the minimum. You know, when you have a job, okay, I have my regular duties, but if you want a raise, you have to give them more than your regular duties. So they got you working like a dog, breaking your back to show them you're worthy of this $1 or $2 raise. Like, who the hell are you to determine that if I work 80 hours a week, you know, take work home, you know, to show you that I'm this magnificent worker and all I get is pennies on the dollar or $1 or $2, and I got to do this again for the next year? Or if I get a raise every 2 or 3 years, I got to put that work in, but not when you're working for yourself. When you're your own boss and when you're the owner of your business, you decide how much you want to make. You decide when you want to raise. You decide how much work you're going to put into it. So if you want to make an extra $1,000 this month, you know what you need to do to make an extra 1,000 and put the work in. So I like the fact that I determine when I get an increase in my pay.
That's absolutely. Hey, y'all, don't forget, if you all want to join us right back on Facebook at 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern, Coach Danielle Winningham will be going live with a COVID-19 masterclass to teach you how and to show you how to pivot and get started in these uncertain times. Just because the times are uncertain does not mean that it has to be uncertain for you. You have options, you have choices. Is there anything else you ladies would like to add before we close it out? Because we have 8 minutes. We're going to jump over to the masterclass, and we hope that all of you all will join us on Facebook. We'll be doing watch parties so that you all can tune in with us. So ladies, what anything you all would like to add before we close it out?
We just welcome you in our community, and we want you to go out there. If you just don't know what to do, but you know you're destined for more than what you've been doing, go out and schedule that call. So it's BYOB show 20, bit.ly/BYOB show 20.
Absolutely.
It'll be the best call that you've made all year. And we look forward to you in our community.
Yes, and stay connected with us. We're here every Saturday morning and every Saturday evening and Sunday too. Come back next weekend. We're here every week. You know, we want you to come back. We want to share the resources that we have, and that's something that you want to pay attention to, is that you have credible resources and credible information, because people do during times like this take advantage. There's a lot of scams, people collecting information, knocking on people's doors, dressed up as, government officials. So I like that I know I have somewhere to come where I'm going to get the correct information and learn how to do it right.
Absolutely, Tayshawn. That's the key word of the day, credible. Credible, because there's a lot out here, like you said, folks taking advantage of people. In this community, it is all about integrity and credibility. Yes. Anybody else want to say anything before we leave these folks?
Free yourself.
Oh.
Get you a plan together. Yes, it is a lot of hard work, but it's doable. It's just doable. And I promise you, it is the best thing, the best decision I have made, not just for myself, but for my kids too.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love what I do. I love what I do.
Absolutely. Well, y'all, it's been great. Make sure you all come back tonight for the BYOB After Dark show. Pick up some more nuggets, have a little fun, and then we'll be back right back here tomorrow morning on Resurrection Sunday, early in the morning, to give you words of encouragement and to drop some more nuggets on you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.